Hey, let me know if anybody can hear me okay. This is testing with a new setup. It's not great. Hey, if anybody's there, just let me know how everything. If at the very least you can hear me, if the the game levels are even. Because that's what matters. Hey, if Okay, there we have somebody. Hey, hopefully you can hear me okay. I know I'm not using my regular microphone, and unfortunately the Wii sounds like a dying cicada. Watching Cheers with your parents. Something about Sam and Diane, because good ratings. Coding Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm just experimenting with my new arrangement. This isn't exactly my old setup in the old apartment. What I have here is really makeshift. I mean, you saw the picture on Facebook probably. Yeah. That's what it sounds like. What else am I gonna call it? There's nothing sadder than a dying cicada. It makes annoying noises. And I'm dead. Yeah, so at the moment, the only consoles I have set up are the Japanese PS2 and the Wii. So I'm just trying to keep things simple. Grant says the episode was about the ditzy optometrist girl teaching acting to a murderer, and then tries to kill her in the Othello performance. You know, believe it or not, Sam's seen more of Cheers than me, so maybe we should go ask him about that. Yeah, I should summon him. The only control I have at the moment is my Wii remote, so I'll only be playing NES and TurboGrafx games. I'm not sure what you'd like to see of me. I got Balloon Fight, Super Mario Brothers, Optimist. I said Optometrist, I think. Balloon Fight, same thing. Optimus Prime. Balloon Fight, Super Mario Brothers, Gradius, Mario Brothers 2, Mario Brothers 3, Mega Man's 1, 2, and 3, Super Contra, Superstar Soldier, Star Tropics 1 and 2, Rondo of Blood, Kirby's Adventure, Life Force. I'm really not good at ice hockey or bases loaded. Or NES Open Tournament Golf. Zelda 1. I'll do anything that doesn't require me to get an extra controller. Not sure if any of those appeal to you. Pinball, Break-In, Air Zonk, my Devil's Crush, Military Madness, any of these clicking with anybody. Man, this sounds irritating. You really want me to do Donkey Kong Country 3? I'll have to go grab another controller for that. But, yeah, okay, if you want. Grab the damn thing. Grant says, I saw that you've been catching Toonami. I assume because I posted the picture of me watching Fooly Cooly and maybe some other things. Okay, we'll do Donkey Kong Country 3, which I had been recording recently if you saw Bradley's Smash Brothers video, which I think is doing fairly well. Ooh, finally. I'm pretty ambivalent about it. I never Fully Cooley was such a... I loved the original show, but it was such a one-off thing for me that I never had any expectations for a sequel. My take is that I thought it was fine. Ultimately, I thought it was fine. I think it took some time to get started up, and I wasn't too crazy. I mean, for me, episodes 4 and 5 felt more climactic than the finale, and the final episode felt more like a declining action. But I thought ultimately it was fine. My one regret is that the original series got really wild with a bunch of experimentation of visual styles, and they were very tame about it this time around. Okay, so as requested, Donkey Kong Country 3. I was gonna not do that, but Grant wanted it. We'll start at the beginning of the game. I recorded some footage of this recently for Bradley's video. Hello, Bradley. Bradley's Smash Brothers video. So I'm not sure what people think of this one. Of the Donkey Kong games, this one seems to be very peripheral to certain people. I guess the issue was the timing. The other Donkey Kong games, Donkey Kong Country came out halfway through the Super Nintendo's lifespan, and the Donkey Kong Country 2, it still felt relevant when it came out. But when this was out, there was the Nintendo 64. So things seem to be lagging behind a little bit. This definitely seemed to be like a B title, at least in retrospect. But I think this game is okay. Bradley said, I didn't like Ide. He felt underwhelming as a pro protagonist. You know, I'm inclined to agree. Grant says, I do like the new one has a habit of animation-wise knocking it out of the park with some of the best animation I've seen in a while, mixed with some awkward flash. Some good animation, but my favorite episode of the original series was episode 5, Brittle Bullet, and that episode got really nutty. And I just something like that is not in fully progressive. The original show is very hard and very the original show is hard to describe, and this one I think they're going for a little bit more of a mainstream appeal. But I'm pretty ambivalent about it. I don't necessarily hate it or anything. I don't think watching the entire series in one day was good for me, because I actually was watching the show out of order initially. I saw the first episode. I think I need to throw something at this jerk. The barrel. Yeah, that's important. And then we get the emblem. But you have to hand it to Dixie. She got to headline her own Nintendo game 1 year into her existence. That's not too bad at all. There's plenty of people who would like to see her in Smash Brothers. I wouldn't mind. I'm not really gunning for her, but... Grant says binging does not benefit every show, despite Netflix insisting otherwise. Well, the thing for me was I missed the first episode, and then I recorded them, but I accidentally watched the recordings out of order. And then, because I moved recently, I was going to lose the recordings because the cable was getting shut down. So I decided, you know, I'll just watch the show in one sitting. That left the place after barely having slept at all. And I felt kind of bleh when all was said and done. But I did see the other episodes, just not in the correct order. Grant says watching fully out of order is the Tarantino cut. They should make a Blu-ray and I should produce it. And now we raise the flag to the next level. Actually, I'm not paying as much attention as I should. Let's, normally I like, what's this jerk's name? Oh, there's no select button on this controller. That blows. Is it Z? No. Oh well. Normally I like having Kitty lead to act as my meat shield. But I guess I'll just have to play carefully. Grant, why did you want Donkey Kong Country 3? This game is not particularly popular. Grant said never saw it. I don't understand what you're talking about. Unless you're making some kind of pun about how these enemies here have buzzsaws. Grant says meat shields are a top-secret project between the U.S. military and Oscar Mayer. So that's why I don't like Oscar Mayer. You're part of a conspiracy. Grant said never played the game, now let me exit Billy Mays mode. I was really wondering what was with all the tech shouting. Never played the game, let me exit Billy Mays mode now. Okay, so I guess you were... It piqued your interest that I had it, and you wanted to see it in action, okay. Money back guarantee. Clobber DDD. Well, I'm a little bit more positive towards this game than I used to be. I used to be a little bit down on it, frankly. But I think as I get older, I'm willing to just try things a little bit more. Or maybe I just... If Sam were here, Sam says that I just like too many video games in general to really think about them too critically. I should... Pull me a test. Damn it, I hate Kitty Kong. Oh. Grant says, why did this game become such a misstep, though? Was the team just oblivious, or was there behind-the-scenes stuff? Well, the team for Donkey Kong Country 3, they were mostly a junior team at Rare, and this game was more of a B priority, get this out before the end of the Super Nintendo's life cycle for Nintendo. And for most of the team, I believe it was their first time making a game in the capacity that they were working on it. I'm pretty sure, I think the only senior team members are probably David Wise and Evelyn Fisher, who were music composers, so they weren't involved in the level design or programming side of things. I guess you could chalk up people's issues with this game possibly to inexperience of the staff working on it. The thing is, Rare and Nintendo, because they generally have such a high bar of quality. I mean, it's not like the game is totally disposable or anything. It's just it's not as good as some of the other things from them. And then Blast Boy's joining us. Bradley says, I don't understand why they would leave Donkey out of the game as a playable character 2 times in a row. Even a bonus mode with him would have been fun. Yeah, you know, it's kind of funny. This is the 3rd game in Donkey Kong's 2nd franchise, and he's become a side character in his own series. His name is in the title, but he's not even a playable character. You don't even see him till the end of the game. It's pretty nutty. Bradley says, I find it funny how Kiddy Kong was tossed aside as if the game was his fault. Bradley, what's your opinion of this game? I'm curious. This is considered to be the black sheep of the franchise, but I always want to know what people think. Opinions can be much more nuanced than that. If you'll excuse me for just one moment. Okay, sorry about that. How did I fail? That doesn't make any sense. Sorry about that. I need to get a drink. Let's read what people have to say. Wasn't that intended as a dig at Miyamoto for saying that he thought people like Donkey Kong Country from the graphics, so they moved Donkey Kong as a big middle finger to him? Do you mean, are you talking about Donkey not being a playable character in Donkey Kong Country 2 and 3? Because if so, I honestly don't know. I think they just wanted to do their own thing for the sequel. Bradley says, in regards to Donkey Kong Country 3, he used to be much harder on it. He used to be much harder on it because he thought Kiddy was a soulless character. But I feel he kind of is. He's part of the 90s baby phase. But I appreciate it more for all the new mechanics and enemies it introduced. I like Bleak the Snowman a lot. So it would have been nicer if Diddy kept his Japanese name Dinky Kong, because I like the DK theme of the main characters going on. Well, who decided on the name Dinky Kong? Was it somebody from Britain or Japan? Because as far as I know, these games were pretty much just made in the UK. I'm pretty sure all Nintendo of Japan did was playtesting, really. Grant says, maybe it's easier not to have Miyamoto breathing down your neck about how to portray Donkey Kong. Maybe. Miyamoto, crap. As much as Miyamoto is an icon, he's a very tough boss. And a lot of the game developers from the 80s, as the industry emerged, they're really tough guys. Maybe you guys have probably heard me talk about this before. Um, One of Miyamoto's mythologies for one of his methodologies when he produces a game is that sometimes once the developers make a build of the game, he'll force them to delete everything, scrap it, not reuse any code for the next build, and start over from scratch. And this is called, he calls this flipping over the tea table. I don't remember the Japanese term for it, but that's what it translates to. And his idea is that doing this gets rid of bad ideas. And I just think that's really crazy. You would never see anybody from Activision or EA do anything like that. They would just instead release unfinished games. There's also, and you can find this on YouTube, there's some pretty detailed development diaries of how Metal Gear Solid 4 was made. And something that caused some issues very late in Metal Gear Solid 4's development is that Hideo Kojima thought they should add a tutorial about how to use Octocamo, because in his opinion, Octocamo was integral to the game's strategy, and he didn't think he made it clear enough for players to understand how it works. And you can see some of the game designers and the deprogrammers sweating bullets about the whole thing, saying, well, if we add this tutorial, this could affect coding in other parts of the game, and we have to worry about causing more bugs, because in order to add the tutorial sequence, they have to change parts of the game code, as what happens in the development process. And Kojima, his response, you will never see an American say this. His response was, I've been working in this industry since the 80s, and somebody who can make a game on time, under deadline, and make it so that it has as few bugs as possible is a true game maker. And this is his response to a programmer saying, in order to make the changes we want, we might have to possibly delay the game because we don't want to cause any extra bugs changing the code like that. I mean, I don't know if that's arrogance or a cultural difference, but that kind of thinking makes them madmen, but also kind of makes them brilliant in a certain way. There's my story. We somehow, by playing Donkey Kong, we go back to Metal Gear Solid. That's how it works, and I'm not going to win this. Okay, so how to bring this back to Donkey Kong. My friend Michelle did a cover of this song. She found out what patches Bruce Falconer and his team used in the Funimation dub, and did it using the patches that Bruce Falconer's team used for the DBZ dub. I think I've shown that to Bradley. I'll probably have to show that to Grant at some point. Crap, shit, bad. Anyway, hopefully maybe you found that interesting. Because I love talking about the game development process. The way they used to do it is very fascinating to me. It sounds very stressful and hectic. Like, one thing I learned researching about Taito, because I want to make at least 2 or 3 videos about Taito this year. Actually, today I finished the voiceover for a video about Taito. One issue that Taito faced down the road is that they lost the source code to the games they made in the 80s. And the reason for that, and this is also a problem with Sega as well, is Taito kept changing offices in the 80s. They moved from smaller offices to bigger offices. And eventually the freaking code to the games gets lost when they do that. And let's get that token. There we go. Grant, a lot of my brother's music. I think you'll be interested. Send it to me when you have a moment. I'd love to hear it. And I'll show you that track that my friend Michelle did. Bradley says, the more you guys are making me use all my throat energy. Bradley says, the more I see this game, the more I'm reminded of how much of a butt Kiddy Kong is. He makes carry him. You mean Dixie? He makes Daisy carry him despite how much larger and stronger he is than her. She looks so done with everything when carrying him. This is digging at memories when I took jabs at him in the only video where I ever spoke about Donkey Kong Country 3. Feel free to use this footage if Nintendo lets me keep it. I had issues. The last time I streamed a Nintendo game, the Mario footage got claimed by some... The Super Mario Sunshine footage got claimed by some douche who... made music using clips from that game, just to show you how corrupt YouTube is. You'll have to remind me what video that is, because I don't remember. I think I'm progressing decently considering that I'm 25% paying attention. It's not too bad. Yeah, this level is the pits, because Ellie only has... And she'll lose one if she sees a rat in light, because elephants are afraid of mice. Brant says that he tagged me his brother's band. Yeah. I'll be sure to take a look at it later. I will have to edit voiceover later tonight. Okay, Bradley says that he took a shot at Kiddy Kong in top 10 most useful video game hats. I guess I'll have to rewatch that video. But yeah, sorry my audio quality isn't as it's not as good as it is. I'm using my internal microphone, if you can't tell right now. I've been having some issues with my Snowball and my Samson when I was testing my streams, and I'm not sure why. Sam has an Audio Technica, and we're getting excellent sound quality out of that. I really don't want to use it for podcasting or streaming, though. Not at the moment. Only if he's okay with it. Oh, no. Yeah, this is what makes this level frustrating. So I need the barrel to kill the rat. Okay. That's some messages here. Grant says, your thoughts on some other Toonami show. Really curious of your thoughts of My Hero Academia, Pop Team Epic, and JoJo. And I'll say, well, yeah, because I have cable in my room. I've never had cable before in my entire life, so I'm definitely getting caught up on Adult Swim for the first time in a long time. Because before that, I would only watch TV very occasionally. I mean, not when I was younger, I was definitely addicted. But in any case, I'll just give you a rundown on what I've seen. Dragon Ball Super, I have really mixed feelings about. I tend to like Dragon Ball Super when the episodes are a little bit more lighthearted, and I'm not too crazy on their more serious plots. I don't like that early on in the series is a retelling of the first two, the most recent two movies. I'm told that the storytelling is better, but it feels decompressed for the sake of it. But I like the baseball episode of Super, and I like the Dr. Slump crossover. This Dr. Slump crossover, I thought those were done very well. My Hero Academia, my brother and Inverted Inverted being a part of the videos, he's been in some of the streams, are both much more into it than me. I actually was following the sub on Hulu, and I'm trying to follow it at a pace where I can watch the sub and then see the dubbed episodes when it airs. So I'm right on where they are in where they are at Toonami. I'm at this week's episode that's coming. And it took me a while to get into the show, but about the third episode in, when All Might and Deku start training, that's when I really got into the show. And I thought there was something kind of oddly inspirational about it. And I mean, you know me, I really like superheroes and comic books. I like the Japanese take on it. I think it's neat. And I would definitely, if I was a little bit younger, I think I'd be much more excited about it. But I'd like to see where they go with it. I think it's really cool. Pop Team Epic. I said on Facebook, I said that it's basically YouTube poop, the animated series, and I still stand by that. Honestly, I don't care for it. I think it's really annoying. But it's kind of experimental, and I think that's neat. But it's not for me. And then JoJo, I could never get into JoJo, but I know it's a very well-made show, and I just died there. Attention to it, and unfortunately, because every show is serialized these days, because I missed an episode, I'm light years behind everybody else. Grant says that he doesn't love Pop Team Epic, but he respects it. Why is that? For me, I think it's interesting that they change casts. They recast the show every episode. That's weird. That's kind of cool. But I find that more interesting than speaking of the quality of the show. I don't think it's particularly funny. Grant says it's trying to be a comedy as opposed to stooping to. Mark anime humor, which will never be funny to me ever. You'll have to clarify what that means. Blast Boy says, "You watch Space Dandy or Lupin the Third?" I saw. I've seen Space Dandy out of order, and I really liked it. I think it's a very well made show. I've only seen the dub. I think the show was produced dub first. But yeah, there is my favorite episodes of Space Dandy are when they form a band, and the one on the planet that's like a high school, and then Dandy pisses off the prom queen by singing a song about booty. That was funny. That was very funny. Grant says anime humor is that dumb shit that all anime think are funny but will never be funny, like boob-sized jokes. Is it just boob-sized jokes? Ah, this bastard. I mean, some things like, this bastard? Grant says shonen anime humor. I mean, the thing is, I'm pretty old these days. As I get older, that humor makes me, some of that humor makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable. But you have to remember that shonen anime is made for Japanese boys who are about to go into middle school. Booty's gotta taste so sweet. My favorite candy. That's great. Somebody's singing about that booty. Here's a hint, it was me. Okay, so if you don't understand why I keep going back and forth, the rat makes Ellie run away in terror, so I have to get rid of the rat in order to move forward. Okay, damn it. This is... This is aggravating. Okay, Bradley says, I started passing around Pop Team Epic clips at work, and they like every clip I send. Most because one woman at work acts like Pupoko. I got a 40-something interested in Pop Team Epic. Yeah, the appeal of that show seems very broad. I'll say that much. Because didn't it originally start as a Japanese webtoon or something? Grant says of Space Dandy that he liked the zombie episode, and I just lost a life, and the ramen episode, and the John Travolta one. I don't think I remember the John Travolta one. You have to tell me what episode it is. Well, I guess, Grant, if we're talking about quote-unquote anime humor, I guess it'll be like in the recent dubbed episode of My Hero Academia, and I think this was in the original too. I mean, it probably was, unless Funimation made up. Sometimes they embellish things in their dubs. I find it a little bit uncomfortable when the Berry kid started talking about the frog girl's breasts. That was a bit that made me feel mildly uncomfortable. God, this is really odd to talk about in the stream. Roman Robinson, who he's donated some games and has been kind of a consultant in the videos. He's the father of Michelle Robinson, aka Rebecca Rosenhaus, who is an artist and graphic designer on some of my videos, has helped with the editing and writing. He's 50-something, and he says that he can't watch Rama anymore. That Rama makes him feel really uncomfortable. Because there's quote-unquote fucking naked teenagers everywhere. He says they can't watch that or Tenchi Muyo anymore. And he told me that once once I have a daughter, I'll understand. Jesus. It's probably going to be the most controversial thing I said today. So he got rid of all his Rama manga and DVDs because of thinking that way. This level's getting on my nerves, by the way. Okay, we're changing the subject. I don't want to talk about this anymore. I felt like I've potentially crossed the line. Grant says Cromartie High School is a pretty good comedy anime. I have not seen it in a very long time, but I remember it being done pretty well. Okay, and now I have to let the little bee bastard done pretty well. What I mostly remember is that somebody got trolled online in one episode. Grant says JoJo Part 4 is gonna start. I'll be sure to check it out. Now going back to Blast Boy's thing, asking about Lupin. I'm assuming possibly you mean the recent Lupin series that's played on Cartoon Network in the past year. I was first introduced to Lupin when it played on Adult Swim, the second series, 15 years ago. That's my first time seeing Lupin. I had heard of Lupin before that, but that was my. Now that dub is kind of weird because the show was made in the 70s, but they made a bunch of. They had a lot of fun with that script, to put it politely, and they make all kinds of pop culture references that didn't exist in the 70s. But I have a lot of memory. I have a lot of fun memories of that dub, mostly because I like the cast. The script is very questionable. But I've seen all kinds of versions of Lupin. I've seen British dubs. I've seen the original series, the Green Jacket series in Japanese. I don't think it was ever translated in English. I've seen most of the dub of the old version. And I've seen a decent number of Japanese episodes as well. I haven't seen too much of the third series, Lupin the Third Part 3. And they don't stream it on Hulu anymore, so I can't watch it. Shit. I've seen almost all of Lupin the Third Part 4, and I just think it's okay. I like the art and the colors, but the animation quality I think is kind of poor. They just didn't have the budget. I mean, I think that one was fucking funded by Italians. And if you want to think about Europe's track record with anime. Now, I've seen most of. I wanted to buy it, but I didn't have money at the time when it came out. The Woman Called Fujiko Mine. And I think that had some of the best art and animation I've ever seen in my life. And I would love to own the Blu-ray. It has a lot of nudity, so it's not for anybody under the age of 17. Grant says that the troll episode of Cromartie High School is great. I mean, that's the one I really kind of remember. Bradley says, I like Good Luck Girl despite the shonen anime comedy tropes in it, and I know plenty of people my age who talk like the characters in the show. It's my understanding they had a lot of fun with that dub. I don't even think it's called Good Luck Girl in Japan. It's called something else. The title, something else. Grant says, I've seen that in bits and it's amazing. You've seen what in bits? I'm not sure what you're referring to. Bimbo Gamma. Whatever. So fucking whatever. Bimbo Gamia. Yeah, Good Luck Girl is easier to type, so I'm going to call it that. Just like I'm going to call Card Captor Sakura Card Captors. because it's easier to type that. Grant says Discotech has a Lupin movie done by the same animation studio as the woman called Fujiko Mine. Interesting. It was one of the TV specials. I've seen the British dubs of those, and they're okay. One thing I think is funny, there's some dubs where, too bad Jing isn't here. He's the Lupin expert. He would, if he's eavesdropping, Jing, if you're eavesdropping, Tony, if you're eavesdropping, you got to give us the 411. One of the dubs they call Lupin, and another one they call him Wolf because they couldn't have to get the right Lupin. Grant says it's called Daisuke Jagan's Gravestone. I've heard of that. I believe in the English version, Christina Valenzuela is in that as Fujiko. And Keith Silverstein plays Lupin in that, I believe. But I've never actually seen it. I've only heard of it. Yeah, I saw The Woman Called Fujiko Mine when it was on Hulu, and it's not on Hulu anymore. Which is really lame. So I was never able to finish it. Grant says Dan Warren is Jigen. It's a pretty solid dub. Now Dan Warren did he was on Power Rangers, and he played Arthur from Ghosts and Goblins in Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. I know he's done other stuff, but I just can't think of it off the top of my head. Okay, guys, hang on. I'm gonna take a quick break, and this was not very well planned stream. I will probably be calling it quits in about 30 minutes, but just sorry about that. I just needed to run something by my dad real quick. And lo and behold, I forgot to pause the game. and thankfully there were no consequences. Grant says that Dan Warren was in Space Adventure Cobra as, drumroll, Cobra. That's good because that's the only character from that I can name. Was in a version of Space Adventure Cobra. If I'm not mistaken. Shit. Oh, and what's this bastard's name? Tiny Kong, Dinky Kong, Baby Kong. This is shitface. When he dies, he has the worst cry I've ever heard. It's terrible. It sounds like the game is dying. it's so miserable. Dixie looks shit. She looks really cool with her helicopter hair. Well, you know, I'm now Baby Kitty Kong, whatever the fuck. I'm now him. So you might hear it if I perform poorly. All right. There you go. I don't know if you heard it. I don't know if you heard it. My TV's kind of low. How could you forget classic Space Adventure Cobra characters like Jazzercise Robot Number 3 and Bikini Sniper 2? Grant, when you turn 28, your memory will become worse than mine. That's my response. Not a threat, just a warning. Grant says, I'm saying that there aren't any good characters in the show, and I love it. It's so doofy and unabashedly pulpy. Yeah, we need shows like that every so often. That was close. Yeah, this level, when I first played it, this gave me a lot of trouble. I think it took me an hour to beat it. I'm being pretty risky today. I haven't saved it all. Oh yeah, this level. You gotta move. No. I kind of regret that I missed Mobile Suit Gundam Unicorn. Or, no, what the hell is it called? I didn't get to see Iron Blooded Orphans. I mean, I've seen it in action, but I don't feel like I really watched the show. When there's a new Gundam series, even if it may not appeal to me. But unfortunately, I missed that, and unfortunately, Gundam on TV is always really temporary. Even I mean, as popular as Gundam Wing was on in the U.S., I don't think it lasted a year. Grant says, uh-oh, here we go. Grant says Iron-Blooded Orphans was everything bad about Gundam made into a show. Ouch. What was so bad about it? You know, I would I would hope for a Gundam show to be good. In my perception, Gundam is like Japan's answer to Star Trek. It's my take on it. Maybe I'm horribly wrong. So you'd want it to be, you know, good. Grant says everything. Man, you're big on the caps today. You know, you're really not. You're what's so wrong about it? Grant says Gundam shows are almost never good, even the great ones. Oh, what's so wrong with? So I'm just Yeah, right here, Wrinkly is playing N64, and you can even hear the Mario 64 music. So just further inclination that this was always a B. But seriously though, what? Yeah, I'm pretty sure this level here has ended some of my playthroughs. By the way, I'm pretty sure I'm mistaken in that I think Evelyn Fisher composed most of the music of the game. Grant says Iron-Blooded Orphans feels like a bunch of old men trying to reach out to the youth with scoot I think you mean skateboards and hula hoops, but it's not 1994, it's 2019. Were hula hoops popular in 1994? Well, may I ask, what was the premise of Iron-Blooded Orphans? Bradley says, I remember hula hoops being on playgrounds a lot as a stock recess item. Sounds like fun. Hula hooping's a dangerous street game that their kicks. And thinks that hula hoop evolved from I don't understand what that means. Riley says it was involved at a lot of party games at birthday parties. Truth be told, I never owned a hula hoop in my life. I only got to use one at PE in elementary school. And toys that evolve from hula hoops, like Skip It. Yeah, I can't even fully read the comment. I'm already feeling salt here. Same as always, IBO is just people rebelling at the fucking know it. At the 17th clone of Char with an increasingly growing tendency to wear a mask stupider than the last one. Man, tough critic. Maybe I'd feel similar if I actually saw the damn show. Well, who was it? Yeah, from Gundam Wing, I liked Zex Marquez, even though he's a blatant plagiarism of the Char character. I thought him and Treize were very good conflicted villains. I know some people who don't like Gundam Wing and they like Treize. When we were younger, Jing said something about Treize being Johnny Awesome Rockets. Grant says they have some of the stupidest character designs in the world. One character has the Dixie Kong body ponytail the size of a sleeping bag. Sounds kind of dumb. Okay, guys, I need to be frank. This level is really getting on my nerves now. I was thinking about doing one more for the road. How about, would anybody be interested in, I would like to play something that I don't have to, I only have part of my game collection out of the boxes right now. I have a lot of the GameCube games, a lot of PS3 games, but the only consoles I have set up are Wii and Japanese PS2. So, yeah, would anybody like to see PN3? I did a review on that once. That was 4 years ago. I'm just gonna put it in. I don't need anybody's permission. We'll do that. See what happens in the next 30 minutes. Seeing some comments there. By the way, Grant, I hope the job is treating you well. I know that you've had to leave the stream a few times because of work. Hope you're feeling okay because of the job. I'm going through another career transition myself. And I'll leave it on that ambiguous note. Alright, let's see. Grant says, I like Wing the same way I like JoJo for its dated weirdness. Booty shaking, booty shaking. Riley says, isn't there a 0 in the title? It's there. It doesn't really mean anything. The title doesn't really mean anything. So, PN3. For those not in the loop, I made a freaking video about it. This is a video by Shinji Mikami, who created Resident Evil. This is a video game created by Shinji Mikami. Here's a video in the video game, an FMV. This was a GameCube exclusive. It's still a GameCube exclusive. It never left the GameCube. This game sold very badly. It's pretty decent. It never really got any exposure, and it got very mediocre reviews. But I think it's okay. And if you like Shinji Mikami, I guess look into it. Vanessa, I was told Vanessa was once under consideration to be in Marvel vs. Capcom 3. I don't know how true that is. Me and Bradley have a video where we suggest her as a character. The main character in the game is Vanessa Z. Schneider. Well, Grant, one thing about Gundam Wing is that I find it hilarious how dated the computers are in that show. The interface look like computers from the 80s. That show was made in the 90s, and it takes place where people live in outer space. So that's the weird. That's something very weird about that show. But Wing, I like the character designs in Wing. I think the robots look really cool. and Wing has some really kick-ass music. The composer for Wing is Ko Atani, who also did the music for Outlaw Star. So yeah, this is a third-person action game. And the engine for this was reused in Resident Evil 4. If anybody's wondering why this game is notable. Grant says Xeon's master plan is to replace all computers with 6-inch floppy disks. Are we talking about the original series? Because I was going to say that Xeon does not exist in Gundam Wing. The allegiances in Gundam Wing change so often that I really don't even know who the bad guys are supposed to be. And that's something that made the conflict of Gundam Wing interesting to me, is that I didn't think there were any clear-cut villains. I thought everybody was a character first. The main cast, anyway. The Romefeller Foundation guys were fat, obviously evil bastards. Grant said, not Grant, Bradley says Vanessa for Smash Brothers Ultimate, Marvel vs. Capcom, Devil May Cry 5, Street Fighter 5, Governor, next Ben & Jerry flavors, and next lead writer for Doctor Who. Man, she's got a lot of campaigning to do. Grant said that there were some floppy disks in Gundam Wing. Yes, there were. The technology in that show is hilariously dated. Actually, one of my friends, two of my friends, my associate Nicholas Bernhardt, he's a filmmaker from Colorado. He says that he thought the show was massively overrated and not very good, even as a child. And my friend Kyle Lutz, who he's normally credited in videos as Dark Battleship, he usually helps with editing. He said that he rewatched Gundam Wing when Funimation shipped, when they got the DVDs, and he said that he gave it away almost immediately. He says that the series is really bad and doesn't hold up at all. But he still likes Endless Waltz. He says, don't watch the series, just watch Endless Waltz. I'd like to see Endless Waltz again. Endless Waltz had astounding animation. And the robots looked really cool in Endless Waltz, even though they're not very practical. Gundam Wing with the angelic wings. It doesn't make any sense from a practical perspective why you'd want to give a robot angel wings, but I'll be goddamned if that's not a really cool looking design. Grant says I hated it the first time I tried it. Second time I was able to get kind of into it, but stuck around for the silliness. I'm not sure what you're referring to. I'm gonna take a guess and think you mean Gundam Wing. One thing that's very baffling to me when I rewatched Gundam Wing in high school, because before that I only had a few episodes taped off of TV and my memories. You know, in the first episode of Gundam Wing, Kyoto tries to commit suicide. And, I mean, it's marketed as a fucking kid's show. That's kind of, bleak. But he doesn't do it out of, for lack of a better word, being emo. He does it because he was seen falling to Earth, that he believes he failed his mission. So he tries to commit suicide and blow up his Gundam. You know, considering that he's only 15 years old, that's kind of dark. He also, I think it was episode 13, he convinces Troa to try to kill himself. To, quote-unquote, act on his emotions. It's definitely kind of baffling. Hopefully the Wii isn't too loud. This thing is the Wii. I'm not sure if it's just age, but this thing is. Sometimes it just sounds like a goddamn helicopter. Grant said Final Fantasy VII and Gundam Wing really liked introducing us to pretty boy eco-terrorists. Yeah, you know, Final Fantasy VII, our heroes are definitely kind of morally ambiguous, for sure. Oh shit! Damn it! That's how rough this game is. I got hit there once and it's game over. Those beams are instant death, and there's actually a suit upgrade in this game that makes your beam very powerful, but you cannot take a single hit. But yeah, the main characters of Gundam Wing, I would say they are terrorists because they participated in guerrilla warfare. I'm not sure if they're necessarily eco-terrorists, but one thing Nicholas Bernhard pointed out to me, and Nick, if you're watching this, feel free to chime in. I probably should have sent the link out. Really early in Gundam Wing, I think he murders a bunch of soldiers in a barracks and then blows up the barracks. That's a war crime. That is Geneva would grill his ass for that. Maybe there's no Geneva Convention in the Gundam Wing future. I mean it's and the show plays it pretty straight, you know. Grant says I've been playing Bayonetta 2 recently, and it's amazing, but it takes itself a little too seriously and isn't as tongue-in-cheek as before. But everything else is improved. Yeah, with I was gonna say Vanessa. Jesus Christ. With Bayonetta having to save her heterosexual life partner, what's her name? God, what's the fuck is her name? Jean, I believe her name is. It's like Dante's Inferno. It's like the I'm gonna get so much trouble for saying this. It's like the lesbian version of Dante's Inferno, basically. With Bayonetta having to save Jean's soul from the demon or angel, whatever sons of bitches. That's the point of that game. It takes itself a little bit more. You know, the first game is a little bit goofier. For sure. Jean, yeah. I had a really bad habit of calling her Janine, but her name is Jean. the Space Geneva Convention. How do we change the camera angle? There we go. Grant says, "Gotta go to sleep, man," but you keep it up. As long as the nuts don't pull the plug on me, I'm actually gonna be leaving soon. But yeah, it's good doing this. Maybe I'll try and shoot for this again Sunday. Alright, and somebody's messaging me about Harlan Ellison. Yeah, it is sad to see him go. Inkshard is messaging me about Harlan Ellison. Alright, yeah, see you later, Grant. most likely I'll just be doing the first level and then getting the hell out of here. It's almost 9 o'clock over here, and I haven't had a proper dinner. But yeah, Bradley, if you're still here, good luck on your next video, whatever it is. There's your energy drive. Oh yeah. Which ones do I have? Just Swan at the moment. Okay. Yeah, do you want to tell us what it's gonna be? Or is it a secret? If I get too close to the robot, it'll self-destruct. So that's the way this game can be tricky. See? What a jerk. And yeah, there's the quick turn mechanic from Resident Evil there. I think this is the first boss. Yeah. We actually, if I remember correctly, we're not strong enough to face this boss yet. So this just becomes survival. Yeah. Bradley says DBZ filler moment. It's not going to be the grandest in terms of gags, skits, and unexpected entry, but a video you can sit back and enjoy a nice cup of tea while watching. Sounds good. I wish I could watch them as soon as they come out. Just my work schedule on Saturdays is always stupid. I hate it so much. Most likely I won't be able to see it till Sunday night. Because on Saturday I work like a moron at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then I have my voiceover class in the afternoon. All right, let's see how far I get in the trial mission, and then we'll call it quits. I'm not sure if anybody has any observations. Anyway, that sounds neat. I'm sure I'll have fun with it. Also, by the way, some music in this game was reused in Resident Evil 4. This game even has the same composer as Resident Evil 4, as you'd expect. And hopefully I'll find my GameCube memory card so I could show later levels in this game. Yeah, in the incredibly off chance Vanessa becomes a character in a Marvel vs. Capcom game, if they ever make something like another, excuse me, if they ever make something like another Tatsunoko versus Capcom, she'd actually probably be a good candidate because those are very good for more obscure Capcom characters like Saki from that one quiz game I never played. Moves like the energy drive, the special attack where I launched the missiles. That is called Swan. That'd be a very good special move. And then with her dodge maneuvers, I could see that being a counter for sure. Okay. But just showing you what's wrong with the level design in this game. One of the reasons I don't think it picked up, beyond the fact that the game was not marketed at all, is just look how freaking homogenous the level design is. This is this trial mode. It randomly generates rooms from the game. Okay, I beat it. And just look how that room I was in was just a clone of the other room from a different angle. That's really, it's not the best environmental design. Okay, well, I'd like to do longer. I've been talking my head off all day with my voiceover recording and the stream. This was really an experiment to test my new setup. It's not perfect because I got my internal microphone going. Next time I'd like to talk to you guys with a better microphone, but hopefully I was at least audible. I will, hopefully I'll hear from you guys next week. But I've been long overdue for actual proper video reviews. But this is just a chance for me to connect with some of you. But I'll see you guys later.